Hey, welcome to our simplified tracking macros, Emily Brown and Christine Van Diest. Emily is going to take us through. She's had 5 years of tracking experience. She's got a bachelor's in human nutrition, and she truly knows what's going on with tracking macros to get to the body that you want. So Emily, take it away.
Thanks, Christine. All right, so we're going to make this as short and sweet as possible. If you watch the other two videos, you've gotten some information that will definitely be helpful. But so we're starting here with the baseline starting point for macros and calories that we've discussed before. We've talked about a ratio of 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. This is a baseline starting point that really is a great place to start. For anything more detailed and to dial in a little bit more personal progress, definitely reach out and talk to us. But this is a great place to start. So 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat, and a calorie range suggesting 1,500 to 2,000. That is a big range, but that will depend on your height, your current weight, your activity, your age, all different kinds of things. The key point to notice here is that we are not going under 1,500. Above 2,000 could be very possible if you're very active or looking to build strength. You definitely need to eat more food. Another thing I want to mention here is to eat for the body that you are currently in. So if you are, at 180 pounds, but you're trying to get to 150 pounds, you need to eat for the 180-pound body. So that will be key. Moving on to the next slide. To calculate those calorie needs. So this is a simplified way to approach it. We can see across the top, you need to know your goals. Are you looking to lose weight? Are you wanting to maintain where you're at? Or are you wanting to gain weight? Gaining weight is something that a lot of people are looking to do. And that can be just as difficult and mind-boggling as weight loss. So then we are on the side here, on the left-hand side, we're looking at what is your activity level? Are you sedentary? Do you sit at a desk all day and you don't get much time for exercise? And maybe your exercise is walking the dog, which is great and fantastic, but you'll probably fall into this category. Moderately active. This is 3 to 4 days a week. And this could be, anywhere from like a 45-minute workout to really like an hour and a half class or workout. And then down below that is the very active, and this is 5 to 7 days a week. So you'll take your body weight. And so I've used myself as an example that's listed here at the bottom. I'm 145 pounds. And I've multiplied it by 12 and by 14 to get a range of 1,740 to 1,960 calories. So whatever your body weight is, you would multiply it by, if you were moderately active and you wanted to lose weight, you would multiply it by 12 or 14. And then moving across, if you wanted to maintain, you would multiply it by 14 and 16 and gave yourself a range. I will say that these numbers will give you a little bit of extra calories, which I like because it promotes eating rather than under eating. So you might, once you get your range, you might be towards the low end of that range. Okay, so once you get your calories, and this is kind of the case study example of me. This is myself. I am female, 43 years old, 5'7", and currently 145 pounds. And then my activity I have listed next to it. It's about 75 minutes of weights or high intensity exercise, 4 to 5 days per week. So on that chart before, I did list myself as, I fell into more of the moderately active and towards weight loss to get the calories that I did. Some would consider me very active, and but for my own, my own calories, I take in about 1,800 calories a day. So that's where I fell, just if that helps anyone. So then going back, okay, yeah. So back to me, like here I said, 18 to 1,900 calories is what I take in. And this is all just example to give you something to gauge off of. And then the RMR I have listed next to that, that is resting metabolic rate. My RMR is about 1,200 calories. That's how many calories my body uses just to be at rest. So that's with no exercise or anything like that. So then if you see, then that would give me like about a 600 to 700 calorie difference between the calories that I take in and the calories that my body needs. So, and then I'm usually like working out with those extra ones. So I need to fill that gap. Like if my workout is like 600 or 700 calories, then that's why I need 18 to 1,900 calories to accommodate that need. So again, that RMR is what my body is using. My body is using 1,200 calories just to help me function. So then I've broken down that 18 to 1,900 calories into my macronutrients. These are my macros. My macros are carbs, 175, protein, 140, and fat, 60. I wrote the calories next to it so that you could get a visual of how many calories that equals in a day. Sometimes that visual is helpful. And so as we move on, I'll point out that if you're unable to hit your macros, you want to know how many calories that you are able to take in to manage your weight as well. So moving on, we have kind of like the macronutrient prescription. I never hit the timer that I wanted to hit. So so again, here we have the for the day, 175 grams of carbs, 140 grams of protein, 60 grams of fat, 1,800 calories. So like I encourage you to like get that like written out for you as you do the math, and let us know how we can help you in that. And then I've broken it down to like what that looks like in the day. And I have it as 3 meals and 2 snacks because that's typically what I enjoy and what works for my lifestyle. Everybody's will be different. I have kids, and so I tend to be eating with them. I like to eat, before my workout is at 9 a.m. And so, depending upon what your workout is, depending upon your work schedule, like this could look different for you. And please reach out if you need help with that. So I found that for me, that my meals, I like to have about 400 or 500 calories. And my snacks, for me, I typically shoot for about 250 calories, but 150 to 300 calories is a good snack macronutrient goal. Anything less than that is really probably not going to do much for satiation or fueling, to carry you to your next meal. At that point, you're probably just grazing and just accumulating extra unnecessary calories. So again, like when I'm doing that, I'm trying to stay in that 40, 30, 30 that we mentioned throughout my meals, so that helps me stay on track for the day. And it also gives me the carbs that I need to provide energy. It gives me the protein that I need to sustain energy. And because protein can be a more difficult macronutrient to hit, I want to make sure that I'm hitting that throughout the day so that I'm not left with a huge protein deficiency at the end of the night. He wants to eat a bunch of grilled chicken or shrimp before bed. And then the fat, also making sure that I'm dabbling that throughout the day. Fat is the easiest macronutrient to overdo. And so I like to keep that nice and dabbled in throughout the day so that I'm satiated and that I'm not having to go super low fat at any given point as well. So a couple tips to think about as you're planning your meal timings is that 40 to 60% of our calories should be within 4 hours before or after my exercise. So that's kind of like an 8-hour range. And like I said, that's going to be varied with different people and your workout schedule. And then allowing 90 minutes before bed for digestion so that your body can rest and recover effectively. And that's a big one, is making sure that you've timed your food so that you can definitely get a good night's sleep. And depending upon the meal, you want to make sure that you've got 45 to 60 minutes before your exercise. Now, if you're working out at 5:30 in the morning, this obviously is a little different, and you're going to need to choose a protein shake or something that is quick digesting so that you can still have your body fueled before your exercise. You wouldn't want to have, a sausage and English muffin, 15 minutes before your workout. And so the person in that situation would want to really make sure that they fuel well after their exercise. And then, the tip of replenishing protein and carbs post-workout is really important. And typically you want to hit that window between 30 and 45 minutes. So your post-workout meal should be lower in fat for sure. Okay, this is just an example of like keeping those balanced macronutrients, whether they're in snacks or meals. Again, we're mentioning here that snacks are 150 to 300 calories, still keeping that 40, 30, 30. These are just some examples of, how I build my snacks. And, if I'm craving cheese, then I'll say, okay, well, that falls into the fat category. Although it also has some protein, but not enough protein typically. So I'll need to add a little bit of turkey and then add a carb. So, chose like an apple. And most of these all fall into about the 250 calorie range. And so I'll let you look through these, but the nut butter falls into, it's a line breaker. It's a protein and a fat. Same with granola. It's a fat and a carb. So, you can see here that these are nice substantial snacks and they are in the 250 calorie range. So sometimes, we got to break that old idea of like, oh, my snack should only be 100 calories. Like, don't be afraid to get a nice substantial snack that really holds you over. Okay, moving through, this is an example of, wait, is that, okay, yeah. 1,800 calories is what I said my goal is that, that can be blown in one meal real easily without being careful, or that can be spread out throughout the day. Here, it gives lots of choices and, gives a nice quality fish and berries and things with fiber and things will balance our blood sugar and keep our hormones nice and happy, but it's also giving us opportunity for treats. I love that there's like cookies or Diet Coke if you need to have those things every once in a while. This isn't about starvation and this isn't about depriving yourself. So moving to the next. Okay, so how do I lose weight? So weight loss and even weight management, well, of course, are simple math equations. So it's important to know that even maintaining the weight you're at, you're probably going to be in a little bit of a calorie deficit. That is a negative energy balance is how that's referred to. And that is that less calories are coming into my body than are being used by my body. And that goes back to that RMR, that resting metabolic rate. So this means that no matter if I'm low carb or high carb or low fat or keto or intermittent fasting, that no matter what my approach is, which everybody's approach will be different and you do what's right for you, but you need to be less calories than coming in than what is going out. So that resting metabolic rate, I think it's important to know that it takes 800 calories just to get your brain functioning. So like, please, please, please remember, ladies, that that you really need to be above. This next line also says intake of 1,200 calories at bare minimum. That will place you in a danger of hormonal metabolic imbalance. So it's not about eating less, it's about eating better and eating higher quality foods. And then just wanted to point out here that 3,500 calories is 1 pound. So, if you're trying to lose weight, you're looking for a healthy loss of about a half a pound a week. That might not sound as immediate as some people would like, but we're looking for sustainable changes and something that you can keep up. So that would be like 250 calories less per day. So it's nothing dramatic, it's just a little bit here and there, and you can really find places to reduce that. Okay, so, things like weighing versus eyeballing. And, I wanted to I said something on that last slide that reminded me that, 100 calories of candy is not going to fill you up and obviously not offer any nutrients, but 100 calories like in an apple will really help satiate you, balance your blood sugar. And, it's definitely about just choosing the way you eat it. And then the other one that I had read yesterday that really intrigued me was 200 calories of Brussels sprouts will probably end up satiating me the same as like a Big Mac, just because of the fiber content and the high nutrients. So here we're talking about weighing versus eyeballing. So items like peanut butter, avocado, mayonnaise, high density foods, potatoes, like sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, white potatoes, beans, black beans, pinto beans, things like that, really need to make sure that we are weighing accurately to get the proper serving size. It's very easy if peanut butter is a lot of calories and a lot of fat per serving. So if we're accidentally eating 2 or 3 servings instead of 1 that we think we are, we can really, fudge our progress. So really keeping in mind serving sizes and portions, and not all products and brands are created equal. So make sure that you're reading the labels, find one that works for you. All different hummuses have different fat contexts, and so it's important to pay attention to that. A little tip to help people eyeball things are the sizes with your hands. So take a good look at that. I'll let you look at that on your own. And it's just really important as you're starting to do that is to use a food scale and measuring cups as strict as you can for the first couple of weeks to really get a handle on things. All right, so this is just a quick thing, take a screenshot, but I'll let you know here that these items in the far left corner or far left side are vegetables that are less than 5 grams of carbs per cup. That you could eat as many of those as you could possibly handle and almost not even count them. They're like give me's. So they're great additions to meals for nutrients and to add volume to your food. Whereas then we move across the right, we get into things that are a little bit higher in carbs, but still very low carb. And these items are very filling. Squash, like a spaghetti squash with, you can add a meat sauce, or cabbage is very filling. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, like I mentioned before, very filling, very nutrient dense, and very low carb. And as we move across to the right, you see that we start adding fruits in. And so the carbs start getting a little bit higher because they are the sugars. And then, on the far side is bananas and grapes, and apples would be kind of the borderline of these last 2 columns. And your rices and potatoes and things like that would continue to move across to the right. So, want to just finish up with some tips. So as you're playing the Tetris of macros, this is a tool to help you get a handle on awareness. And it's not meant to necessarily be done for the rest of your life, but definitely, the biggest thing I can say is to plan ahead. Enter your meals the night before. If you know what you like to eat for breakfast every single day, get that in. If you've meal planned or meal prepped and you have salmon and broccoli and brown rice to eat for the next 3 days, put that in, make sure that you know that that's going to be in there. And then you can start to build the remainder of your meals around that. A great tip is to track before you eat. If you see what's in that, it might change your mind if you want to eat that or not. Double check your serving sizes. Are you really eating one serving, or are you having 2 or 3? Things like sandwiches and salads, you're definitely going to want to enter those separately. 3 slices of turkey, 2 pieces of whole grain bread. It's really kind of sketchy to enter in, Wendy's chicken sandwich. You just don't know, different things. Just best to enter them separately. And then you also get to see what each of those items has, the nutrients that it has. And that's the whole thing about tracking macros, is learning what is in each food. That's my favorite part about macros. And then find items that are in your diary to compare with. I do this all the time. So I know that like a French fries from Wendy's, I know what that looks like. And so when I'm just out and about in a regular restaurant or something, I'm like, yeah, this is Wendy's French fries. And so I like to do that. And then when you can't hit your macros, stay within your calories. Just because you went off of a macro, like, don't worry. Just make sure you're staying within those calories. And we're always here for you, so please ask. So we're going to show a couple slides just to let you screenshot, get some information. This one compares some whole wheat breads and toast with donuts, shows different calories. And so this is important to know. Processed foods are super easy to overeat. So, the higher quality foods, which leads us right into things like this. When we're choosing foods like this, we're not going to overeat them as much. And then some quality carbs, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, like whole grain things, whole wheat, definitely good things to choose. And then some fats here, which I feel like sometimes we don't really realize that there's so many healthy fats. Definitely these ones, we really want to pay attention to serving size. And I think we might have, is that it? That might be it. All right. So thank you. I hope this was a little bit briefer. And if you have any questions, let us know.